Okay, if you look at the formula sheet I gave you, these formulas are on the top of that paper and they're actually broken down. This one has them combined, and on your RQA formula sheet it will have it combined, meaning that this can either be plus or it can be minus. If this cosine is very important, if it starts as plus, then in the formula it switches to minus. If it starts as minus, it flips to positive. And then the formula for tangent, the denominator changes sign. The numerator keeps the sign, the denominator changes signs, okay? And we'll look at that. We're going to walk through a couple examples. Okay, so the first one, example number 1 on your paper says sine 15, okay? So I'm going to look at the sine formula, and the way this works is I need two angles that either add or subtract to 15, and I want it to be angles that I can do the hand trick with. So that would be something, it would be something that's a multiple of 30, a multiple of 60, 45, or 90. Okay, so what are two of those angles that would make 15? 45 and 30. Am I going to add 45 and 30 or subtract them? Excellent, good job. I'm going to go with that one because that's the first one I heard, but you could have also done 60 minus 45, and that would have given us 15. But the first one I heard was 45 minus 30. And I picked a bad background, so let me put a quick square on here. All right. There we go, so I can do my work. So I'm going to do sine of 45 minus 30. And now I'm going to look at the formula. And the formula says to do sine of A, so sine 45, then cosine of B, so cosine of 30 minus cosine of 45 sine of 30. Sorry, I had to squeeze it there. Okay, are we good? Let me give you a second to get caught up. And again, there's more than one correct answer. Like I said before, you could have done 60 and 45. So there's a variety. Now, the point of this is, now I have some quick, easy angles that I know the answer to, right? So what is the sine of 45? So I'm going to do the square root of 2 over 2 times what's sine of 30? Cosine of 30. That is the square root of 3 over 2 minus, what's the cosine of 45? Square root of 2 over 2, and the sine of 30, which happens to be 1/2. Excellent, 1 over 2. Okay? Okay, ask your question again. Oh, sorry. I just miswrote the number, sorry. I was rushing. Okay, over 2. Better? Okay. Yes, question. So this is sine 45, this is cosine of 30, and I'm going to multiply them together, which gives me the square root of 6 over 4. Square root of 6 over 4 minus the square root of 2 over 4. No, square roots don't work that way. So it is simply the square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 over 4. And if you wanted to, you could type it in your calculator and get a decimal answer, but we're going to leave it like that for now. Okay? Good so far? All right. We are now going to go out of order and move to example 3. Okay? Oh, I still see pencils moving, so let me give you some time. All right, so now let's look at an example of tangent. Okay, so I'm going to give me two angles that make 15. 60 and 45, fine. Okay, so I'm going to have the tangent of 60 minus 45. Okay? And looking at my formula, I'm going to do the tangent of 60 minus the tangent of 45 over 1 plus, in the denominator the sign changes, plus tangent of 60 times the tangent of 45. All right? Okay, now doing the hand trick. The tangent of 60 is what? Square root of 3 over 1 minus tangent of 45, which is square root of 2 over square root of 2, which simplifies to 1 whole. Okay? That is all over 1 plus square root of 3 times 1. So that leaves us with the square root of 3 minus 1 over 1 plus the square root of 3. And unfortunately, I can't multiply the top or the bottom by a number that would make them cancel. You know, if I multiply this by negative, this would make this negative and this would be positive, so it doesn't work. So this is my answer until I were to like type it in a calculator. Okay? Good? Yes. Can I not? No, I cannot. Because this is a whole group. Okay? Now we could, we're not going to get into it right now, but we could have rationalized the denominator by multiplying the bottom and the top by 1 minus the square root of 3. But we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to go through the basics. Good? Okay. Now, this is all finding the exact. Now we're going to go to simplify. So for simplify, look at this. I have cosine, cosine. Oops, I forgot. This should have been an S instead of an X. I typed too fast. Okay? This is example 2. And then I have sine, sine. So look at your formula sheet. Which one goes cosine, cosine, sine, sine? The cosine one. Okay, this is plus, which means I'm going to use minus. So cosine of something minus something. What are my two blanks going to be? 7x and 3x. So I'm really looking for the cosine of 4x. Done. Much easier than the exact. Simplifying is really easy, yes? Okay. So if you look, cosine is the formula's opposite. So whatever this sign is, for the formula for cosine, I do the opposite. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. Sine stays true, and tangent is a mix. Why is tangent a mix? Excellent. It's a combination of both. It's sine over cosine. And cosine does what in its formula? It switches sign. And notice the denominator where cosine would be switches signs. Okay? Good? All right. So here we go. So if the numerator is plus, what am I going to do? Am I going to add or subtract? Add. Great. So I'm going to do the tangent of what plus what? X plus 2x. So I really want the tangent of 3x. That's it. Not so bad. Nope. You just have to look. When you're simplifying, you just have to look at the numerator. Okay? Are we good? So if you just look at the numerator for tangent, sine and tangent will be true to form. Cosine would switch signs. Everyone feeling okay with the sum and difference identity rules? Question? The simplify or the exact value? Okay, so this previous one. Okay, so basically, I look at what form it's in. Cosine, cosine, sine, sine. The formula that uses that is cosine. Because the sine formula uses both too. It uses sine and cosine. It's just the sine goes sine, cosine, cosine, sine. But cosine does double cosine, double sine. So I just use it to tell me which trig it is and then do the math. All right, are we good? Also, another hint, whatever the first word is in the statement, that's the trig. And just know that cosine flips sine. Cosine's an oddball. All right, are we good? Other questions? That was good. Yes. No. You only need to know sine, cosine, and tangent. You good? Okay, and so let me just, on the formula sheet I gave you, I broke each one out. But for your RQA, on the formula sheet, it will be in this form. So you just have to know. And they tell you, look, plus goes to plus, minus goes to minus, plus goes to minus, minus goes to plus. Okay? But since you're just learning it, I like to break apart the formulas. But I also want you to be aware that in the future, they condense it to save room. Okay, so now all we're going to do is I'm going to give you an independent practice to practice.